$1,400 stimulus check and $2,000 stimulus check. How much will it be, and the catalysts pointing toward additional checks? Let's get into it and discuss all of this information. But really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video, as things are changing very rapidly right now as the stimulus package is currently in Congress and they're surely going to be making some amendments to the package. But I'm here for you each and every day with all of those latest updates, as well as your one and only daily advocate, helping you out in any way that I can, and very much committed to making sure that you're getting all of the money and benefits you're possibly eligible to receive as a result of these stimulus packages. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Subscribe down below and let's get into this right away. All right, so it has been very, very interesting watching this whole thing play out here over the last week and a half or so. In regards to a $1,400 stimulus check as originally announced by the Senior Citizens League way back in early October, as they introduced their petition and their letter to members of Congress calling on them to issue a $1,400 stimulus check focused on Social Security, retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, and SSI beneficiaries. Not only that, as I announced yesterday, this new $2,000 Thanksgiving Day stimulus check, as it's being called. It's been super interesting watching this whole thing play out here over the last 10 or so days, as we've had a number of different people and advocacy groups calling out to Congress over the last 10 or so days, really urging them to issue a fourth stimulus check as a result of this massive inflation that is really pinching everybody, especially the lower income and fixed income beneficiaries, as we've talked about so many times in recent videos. However, I wanted to come back to you and lay out some of the catalysts that are also being pointed to right now that would actually be prompting additional checks. Now, this is actually very interesting to watch because there's many different things that are happening right now, and according to what I'm finding out there, some people are saying as a result of all of these catalysts being pointed to, it actually could issue additional checks because all of this is coming together and it is not a good situation. So let's lay these out because this is actually very important to watch very closely, as we have a lot of things converging all at the same time. All right, so number one is obviously the inflation, right? We've talked about that a number of different times, but this is something that many people are watching right now, saying the inflation is really bad, and as a result of these stimulus packages coming up, it's going to fuel inflation even more. Now, here's what's interesting about this. Even with the massive inflation, I mean, a lot of people are saying you got to stop all the spending. But another group of people are actually saying what we need to do is actually issue more money to lower income and fixed income beneficiaries right now to help them actually get ahead of all of the inflation. As a result, issue even more money to these people in the form of UBI, Universal Basic Income, Guaranteed Basic Income, GBI, or even further stimulus checks in the amount of $1,400, $2,000, or even ongoing monthly payments. So kind of interesting how that whole thing is playing out, right? So actually issuing more money would help out these low income and fixed income Americans. And that's exactly what we've been talking about for several months now, which is one of the ways that we could actually get ahead of this inflation for low-income and fixed-income Americans right now is actually getting additional stimulus payments on an ongoing basis so that you can offset a lot of your expenses with this that's being incurred by all of this inflation as a result of additional payments going forward. Because all of us know, and we've talked about it many, many times now, that the benefits that you're receiving are literally being depleted every single month as a result of all this massive inflation. So some people are saying, hey, we've got to get the money to these people to help them out with all this inflation right now because their purchasing power is depleting literally every single month. So kind of interesting to see that play out. Here's something else that's coming down. The supply chain issues. Again, we've talked about this a number of different times, but super interesting to see this because, as I mentioned just the other day, the supply chain issues are literally pricing low-income and fixed-income Americans right out of the market right now, because a lot of times the prices continue to rise outside of the reach of low-income and fixed-income Americans, therefore pricing people right out of the market. Is that fair? No, honestly, it is not a fair situation. Therefore, once again, additional cash infusions would bring people back up to an equitable standard of living and basically just making a level playing field, as we've seen so many things play out here over the last several months, and many people in Congress saying we need to level the playing field for all Americans. So, again, something else that we got to watch here very closely. One other thing that's also interesting, again, I'm not here to get political, I'm not here to take sides, I'm not here to persuade anybody on how you think. But here's what's interesting, and this is what's been pointed to as well. The president's approval rating. Honestly, it's been plummeting lately, right? Over the last several weeks here, we've seen it go from 44% down to 42%, 41%, and according to some polls that we've been seeing recently, it's down in the 38 and even 36% as a result of the Quinnipiac poll that I just announced actually yesterday as well. So the president's approval rating is going down. Now you might be wondering, what does the president's approval rating have anything to do with stimulus checks? Here's how it plays into it, and that's going to come right into my next point, which is the midterm elections next year. As a result of the elections that took place in early November, Democrats are getting a little bit scared right now, especially with all of this money that's being raised by Republicans. Democrats are looking at the situation going into 2022 and the midterm elections saying, we've got to get a grip on this. Seriously, we're going to lose control of the House. We're going to lose control of the Senate, and it is not going to be a good situation for Democrats. So they're saying, what can we do to raise the president's approval rating going into the midterm elections, and what can we do to get ourselves back on the map? Again, I'm not here to tell you how to think politically at all. I'm not here to persuade anybody. I'm simply just telling you this is what I'm finding out there right now. Democrats, according to what I'm finding, are getting a little bit scared with everything going on right now, especially with the midterm elections. And we know that it takes a very long time to actually change the opinions of Americans, right? It's not something that we can just do overnight. It's something that takes several months. So they need to start planning that now to actually get ahead of the curve. In about a year's time, we have that midterm election. Actually, it's less than a year now, but we have the midterm elections, which could determine the fate of Congress going forward. And depending on what actually happens in Congress and the midterm elections, that's going to determine how much Congress actually gets done in the next 2 years of the president's term, right? So yeah, that's something else that we got to watch very, very closely. But we also need to remember too, and again, pretty much all politicians do this. So again, this isn't me taking sides, but pretty much Democrats are looking at the situation thinking, how can we regain our popularity? How can we regain the support of the American people? One way they can do that is, everybody knows, give them money, right? Give the American people money. I mean, obviously all politicians know this. We know it. It's not a game. Well, it is a game, but all of us know the game, right? They give us money, and that's how they get on our good side, right? Well, sure, it can certainly happen, right? It can certainly get us excited for a little while, especially during right now when all of us know that that additional fourth stimulus check is needed so incredibly badly. I know that they would certainly make a lot of us happy, at least short term anyway. It would certainly help out a lot of people in this community, as what I'm seeing down in the comments section for sure. It would certainly be a very, very good thing. So, one other thing that I've mentioned quite a few months ago as well is they need to time the passing of these packages perfectly, so that it's timed perfectly so that Americans remember what's going on. Because if they pass things too far out into the future, a lot of times we tend to forget, or possibly just there's a lot of things that happen between now and the actual elections. So it's easy to kind of forget, like, oh yeah, remember 6 months ago they gave us a stimulus check? Remember that? You know what I mean? So it's easy to forget about these things. So a lot of times the passing of these packages are perfectly timed right before major events like elections. So, kind of interesting how this all plays out. But what the Democrats are actually leaning on right now is the passing of the infrastructure bill that was just signed into law about a week ago by the president. So, a lot of Democrats are leaning on that infrastructure bill. However, that's not really what Americans are really focusing on right now. Yeah, some people are looking at the package and saying, oh yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to fix up some roads and bridges and fix up some drinking water and get better broadband and internet for low income. But for the most part, Americans are not looking at it like, oh, this is a great win for us, and we're going to get so much out of this package. It's not really being looked at like that by Americans, but rather this next stimulus package, the so-called anti-poverty plan, which isn't really so much anti-poverty anymore. But a lot of Americans are turning to this package and saying, now this is the one that's going to help us out going forward. And a lot of Americans are really watching this package to be looking for that additional stimulus check to be added into it. So this next package that's currently on the table right now, working its way through Congress and especially the Senate right now, is the one where Americans are really having their eyes on and watching very closely as the relief package that's actually going to bring all of the financial assistance, the financial relief, and all of these social programs that'll help out low-income and fixed-income Americans as a result of their anti-poverty provisions, which they kind of disappeared out of there. There's a few, but not much anymore, right? So anyway, there's a lot going on. It's kind of interesting, as I mentioned, to watch all of this play out here over the last 10 or so days, as there have been a number of different people, advocacy groups, influential people reaching out to Congress and really hammering down on social media and all over the place in articles and news releases and all kinds of different things that I'm finding out there, talking about the urgency behind additional cash payments for low-income and fixed-income Americans. And when we talk about cash payments, we're strictly talking about infusions of cash in the form of stimulus checks, UBI, or GBI, or any of these other programs. Which, by the way, I just found a short time ago, another guaranteed basic income program that's going to be announced in another city, but I'll bring that to you in a separate video. So those things keep popping up all over the place. Either way, it's nice to see this kind of support that we're seeing out there right now for additional stimulus checks and everything going on. As we all know, low-income and fixed-income Americans need help right now. Honestly, I don't know what's taking Congress so long to figure this out. It's almost like they know what's going on, but it's like they're purposely waiting on this to actually announce something. Does it seem that way to you too? Because I don't know. When I do this research, it seems like Congress knows the blatantly obvious truth, but it's almost like they're just kind of waiting in the wings and waiting for the perfect time to release some kind of announcement. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing anyway. It seems weird that they seem to ignore things almost purposely. So anyway, I'll keep you posted with anything else that I find. But again, I wanted to lay this out for you. Everything that I'm finding out there right now, there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there, like super weird stuff. But anyway, I'm here for you each and every day with all the latest updates. So please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video if you haven't done so yet, so that you can make sure to stay tuned with all the videos going forward, as I'll continue to be here for you each and every day. So enjoy your day, subscribe down below, share this video, and feel free to go back and check out any of the other videos right here on the channel, as we have almost 2,000 videos right here for you. Enjoy. I'll catch you again later, and I hope this one helps you out.